Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001. I'm making a custom that only 2 people in the world knew about before, this video came out. But, just as with the previous times I made characters from the Archie comic, I'm going to do a little bit of backstory before I start talking about the toy itself. Metal Sonic was introduced to the comic book in issue 25, which was the special Sega CD adaptation. He was defeated by attempting to match Sonic's speed to the point where his own afterburners caused his legs to melt. However, Robotnik would rebuild Metal Sonic and use him to attack Knuckles and the Chaotix in the next video game adaptation, the Knuckles Chaotix comic, which was an even more obscure title because the 32X was an even worse seller than the Sega CD. But I digress. In the Knuckles Chaotix issue, he had a new source of energy called a Power Gem, a not Chaos Emerald that could grant him amazing power and allow him to turn into the first version of Titan Metal Sonic. This was defeated by Knuckles, who used another Power Gem to grow to the same size and, punch him. Now, after this, we wouldn't hear from Metal Sonic for a really long time. They introduced Silver Sonic in the Death Egg saga, and we saw Sonic get roboticized in issue 39, and we even saw Silver Sonic Mark II at the end of the Sonic Adventure adaptation. But it wouldn't be until the issue after that Sonic would once again encounter his first clone nemesis. This time, when Metal Sonic made his return, he had modified and upgraded himself. Using a shard from the Power Gem that allowed him to turn into Titan Mecha Sonic, he was able to upgrade his own AI and make himself faster. So he was now a mental and physical match for Sonic. In fact, he was significantly faster than Sonic and dominated him in this fight for most of the issue, where he also kidnapped Tails and tied him up at the top of Mount Mobius, an active volcano. This version of Metal Sonic would meet his end when he sacrifices his life to protect Sonic and Tails as the volcano erupts, paralleling the death of Hyper Metal Sonic from the then recent OVA movie that had come out. However, comic book characters rarely stay dead, especially if they're robots. So when Ian Flynn took over as writer, there was a quick retcon to show that after that battle, Jeffrey St. John's little spy group went to the scene of the battle and were able to recover the shard from Metal Sonic's destroyed body. It turns out that the crystalline matrix of the shard actually contains his programming, and when planted into a new body, they could revive Metal Sonic. At first, Uncle Chuck and Rotor would use this to make the Metal Sonic Army, a platoon of Metal Sonic robots that looked like Neo Metal Sonic from Sonic Heroes. This was after they had thought that Sonic had died, but once he came back from his adventures in space, they decided to scrap the project, although they would end up being later activated by Adam and later dispatched. They weren't really that important. It wasn't until Ixis Naugus took over as king of Knothole City, just roll with it, that Doctor Who, Director Who, I got confused there, would recruit certain individuals such as Uncle Chuck to form the Secret Freedom Fighters. And Uncle Chuck used the Metal Sonic technology to rebuild the original. And that is where we get Shard, aka Jack, aka the first Metal Sonic. In the series, he has a head design that's reminiscent of Neo Metal Sonic and a color scheme that looks a lot like Metal Sonic Mark III from Sonic Rivals 2. And now you know the rest of the backstory. So, let's get on to actually working on the figure, huh? Shard would be made from the remains of Mechapocalypse, a custom I made a long time ago that ended up never getting sold. So I rebuilt the spines. I wanted them to have that Neo Metal Sonic look without inhibiting his shoulder and head movement, so they are a little bit more swept back, just in case people are wondering why I didn't go full-on Starman. And with a quick Metal Sonic 3.0 paint job, yellow on black. The secret, paint the yellow parts first and then the black parts around it. because you're not going to put yellow on top of black. If anyone's wondering why his eyes are green, that's because Shard has two modes. He has casual mode where the gem on his chest and his eyes are green, and battle mode where they turn red. I decided to leave them green because I kind of like the idea of this being the casual Shard who's not in the mood to fight. The torso needed relatively little modification. I just had to fill in the little jet intake and build the gem on top of it, then repaint it. The arms, they are Free Rider's Sonic arms, but with a right hand from a Shadow figure. If you look, you would note that Shard doesn't have a left hand. He has kind of like a permanent Mega Buster thing going on there. I also gave him shoulder pads. They are made out of what's left of Black Widow's wrist dealies, left over from my Zero Suit Samus custom from forever ago. The legs were a bit of a challenge because I didn't have any Metal Sonic legs left. The only ones I had left were from the Gachapon figure, which are significantly smaller. So what I did was I took the legs off of the Gachapon and built them up with clay to be bigger. Then I attached them to regular Sonic legs and built up the armor around the shins and calves. With a paint job, I think it looks pretty good. It looks very much like a Metal Sonic leg, specifically the design that Shard has. And then all I had to do was rebuild him, just like Uncle Chuck did. So here is Shard. He is many things. He's an homage to a relatively obscure video game character. He is a redeemed villain. He is Jack of the Secret Freedom Fighters. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's Jack of the Secret Freedom Fighters. They're all named after card suits, but I'm always messing up which ones they are. But I'm pretty sure he's Jack. Got verification. And I just love this guy. I love Shard. I love Metal Sonic variants, and this is a really good one. Good on Ian Flynn for coming up with this design, or whoever the writer and character designer was, because those guys in the Archie comics are awesome. Well, that was Shard of the Secret Freedom Fighters. Guess there's nothing else to do but sign out.